Hello, 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 IoTeX community. Welcome to our end of year live stream as we look back on one of the biggest years in IoTeX history, 2021. Today, we have a really awesome agenda for you guys today. We have a presentation from myself, Larry Peng. Simone is going to help us walk through some of our developer activity of 2021. And finally, Art is going to walk us through some community growth metrics for 2021. What a year to remember, guys. So much has happened over this year. So we really wanted to just take a time today to look back on all the major milestones, some of the statistics about network growth, and the reasons why IoTeX got to where we were today. There's such a fast-paced progression throughout the year, but we made some really core decisions that really paid off. So we're going to dive into a little bit about how the infrastructure we built enabled the applications that we're now seeing on IoTeX, and also take a look into what's next. And finally, we're going to have a special co-founders panel with Ralin, Jing, and Kevin to wrap things up for 2021. But just to start, we want to just take a gander at some of these statistics that really just highlight our year this year, IoTeX 2021 by the numbers. And while creating this slide, creating this graphic, is just incredible to see the percentage growth. You see a lot of 20x increases or more in a lot of these different categories. And all of them are kind of tied together in unique ways, right? So the biggest stat, I think, of this year is on January 1st, 2021, we started the year with only 18,000 wallets. Today, we have over 350,000. That's a 19x increase in total wallets. We see this even larger when it comes to IoPay users. We have over 127,000 monthly active users of the IoPay wallet. At the start of 2021, it was just around 3,000. So 33x increase in the number of IoPay users. And we're also seeing a lot more staking activity, over 40,000 staking wallets, over 12x increase in 2021. So needless to say, there's tons of users now aware of IoTeX, not just aware, but also engaging in the IoTeX network, which is really incredible to see. Another amazing stat on the blockchain side of things is we saw we're now at 29 million transactions, close to that 30 million milestone. And we started this year, we posted something on January 8th, actually, that celebrated our 10 million transaction milestone. So we 20 million transactions alone in 2021, a 200% increase in total. So more users, more transactions, also more devices, right? We have UCAMs all over the world now in 60 plus countries, over 10,000 devices on IoTeX, which is a 7x increase over 2020 at the start of 2021. Another really amazing stat that we'll dive into a lot deeper in the presentation is our projects and partners. Over 130 different projects and partners that have launched on IoTeX or are going to soon launching on IoTeX. This includes everything from dApps to services and tools to wallets and exchanges. The ecosystem that is building and participating in IoTeX is just growing day by day, especially in the past 3 months. We've just seen a rocket ship of DeFi, GameFi, NFT related dApps coming to IoTeX. And again, that's because of some really important core decisions we made earlier on in this year. We see 2.6 billion IoTeX staked. We started this year with about 2 billion IoTeX tokens staked, which was about 20% of the total supply. Now we see just about 30% of the total supply is staked for voting and for governance. Another amazing stat to notice is 50 plus tokens on IoTeX. This year, we introduced a lot of brand new cross-chain bridges to Ethereum, to Binance Smart Chain, to Polygon, and also saw a lot of new native tokens to IoTeX launch as XRC20 tokens. So right now, the tokens that you can see directly listed on IoTeX Scan, our Explorer, are over 50 plus XRC20 and cross-chain tokens. And incredibly, the total value locked on chain. This includes IoTeX staked. This includes XRC20 tokens that are used in MIMO or being bridged. The total value locked on chain is over $400 million worth of assets. And that's over a 2,000% increase compared to the start of the year. And finally, something that was very apparent this year is, the awareness of IoTeX, and thus the price and market cap of IoTeX also grew exponentially. In January of 2021, IoTeX was just around, zero point 0.6 cents, so half a cent, just about. Now we see IoTeX just around, 12 cents. The market's been a little volatile as of late, but that's led to $1+ billion market cap for IoTeX and a nice comfortable seat in the top 100 projects of the year. So all in all, an amazing year. And it's just really interesting to see many of these metrics all floating around the 20x increase mark. And it's definitely the case that more users, more devices, more dApps led to more transactions, led to more tokens. So it's all circular in a way. And it's really great to see all of these metrics growing very, very quickly in 2021, and definitely more in 2022 as well. So we're going to hop back to this slide, throughout, but just some really amazing stats to open the presentation. What this doesn't show you is some of the qualitative milestones that we had throughout the year that led to these, right? So making this slide was very hard too, picking 12 major milestones out of the year that we had. But this is the cream of the crop here, guys. It really tells a story about how 2021 progressed. So at the start of this year, we had the Pebble Tracker pre-sale on Crowd Supply launch. And it's really amazing to see over the past couple days, people are finally starting to get their Pebble Trackers in the mail. And we have our MachineFi portal launching very soon, so people can start visualizing their data and registering their Pebbles onto the MachineFi portal. But we kicked off this year with the goal of getting this hardware out. It was an uphill battle, to be honest, to get this hardware manufactured. There's a global chip shortage and global supply chain delays that not just affected IoTeX, but the entire hardware, lumber, and used car even industries, right? So we suffered through that as well, but really, really pushed, and we really wanted to get this device into your hands as soon as possible. And we're excited to say you're finally going to be reaching them for all the 600 plus people that have ordered Pebble Trackers. In Q1, we also saw a lot of great activity with top tier exchanges. In January, we got listed on Huobi, and they also joined as a delegate. In March of 2021, we saw Binance join as a delegate, launch staking services natively on their exchange, and also joined IoTeX as a delegate. So this was the first kind of bigger awareness wave that we had. Of course, we had Coinbase later that year, later in 2021, which was really the true coming out party for IoTeX. But in March, getting the support from Binance, getting the support from Huobi and other tier one exchanges earlier on this year definitely jump-started some awareness of what is actually going on IoTeX, and what is this project that's delivering constantly. So we closed 2020. We closed Q1 with the awareness of some great top tier exchanges. One of the really important upfront decisions that we made, and a testament to our tech team for having the vision to pursue, is in April and in May we brought two really critical pieces of infrastructure to the IoTeX network that really jump started a lot of these dApps, these 100+ dApps on IoTeX that you see today. One of them was cross-chain bridges, right? IoTeX has always been bridged to Ethereum, even from the early days, because IoTeX started as an ERC20 token. That bridge between the Ethereum blockchain and IoTeX blockchain has always been there. But we've really added a lot more tokens to the IoTeX Ethereum bridge. And in April, we added compatibility for Binance Smart Chain and Polygon. And like I mentioned, over 50+ tokens on IoTeX now. A lot of those are cross-chain tokens, whether they're tokens that have launched on Polygon and want to bring awareness to their project also within the IoTeX network, or popular tokens that people just want to trade on IoTeX, leveraging the fast block times and the instant finality and the great tool sets we have. But this really opened up IoTeX to a broader audience, just like listing on a top tier exchange like Binance and Huobi does. Getting a cross-chain bridge and official partnerships with these other layer ones really, really jump-started our activities and our awareness in the broader blockchain ecosystem. And we'll dive in later into this as well with the co-founders. But mainnet version 1.2 was really important for us. This was when this was one of the bigger code releases, one of 5 major code releases that we had in 2021. But this mainnet version 1.2 enabled the Bobble API, which is full Web3 compatibility. For the first time, it allowed people to use their favorite suite of Ethereum tools like Remix, Truffle, MetaMask, etc., and also port over Solidity-based dApps to IoTeX with almost zero configuration. And that seamless porting of work that people have done on Ethereum or other networks and bringing that to IoTeX really made the developer onboarding experience very seamless and was a really, really big role, played a really big role in the year that IoTeX had. So keep these two in mind, right? Really core pieces of infrastructure that we introduced early on in the year that paid dividends later on in the year. In addition to work on the blockchain and on the infrastructure side, we also saw a lot of great success with our devices this year. I mentioned Pebble Tracker. We started the crowd sale in February, but UCAM also had a great year as well. Over 10,000 of these UCAMs are around the world right now, enjoyed by 60 plus people, people across 60 plus countries. And in June of 2021, we brought UCAM to the first physical retail store in the United States, which is called Beta. Beta has locations actually in Dubai and Tokyo, and I think 12 plus retail locations in the biggest cities in the US. It was really amazing to see UCAM placed alongside really top tier award-winning products. So it's all in the family there. So UCAM, we hope to even have more versions of UCAM starting to be designed in 2022. Stay tuned for that. But also a whole slew of other devices. But UCAM is the OG, and we're really excited to see the success of UCAM throughout 2021 as well. One other thing we really invested in was partnering with kind of the top tier service providers in the industry as well. We talked about the exchanges, we talked about cross chains to blockchains to the top blockchains, but we also partnered with Ledger. I have my IoTeX Ledger right here. For those that didn't get some of these IoTeX branded ledgers, we got the transparent one and we got the aqua blue one. You can find these on VitaMart right now. We're really excited to see IoTeX fully supported by Ledger. It gives people some peace of mind when storing their tokens, and you can never be too safe today with all the hacks going around. So Ledger integration, check it out. August, this is, I think, where the waterfall really started for us, is, of course, any crypto project out there kind of daydreams about the day that they're listed on Coinbase and gets that immediate awareness. But through activities with CoinMarketCap, we did an earn program, and through this Coinbase listing, starting in August, I think we started to welcome hundreds of thousands of new people that were aware of IoTeX and instantly fell in love with the vision and the state of the network. So Coinbase, of course, was the gift that kept on giving for us. I know there's some issues between the price discrepancy between exchanges, and hopefully in the early 2022, we're going to be able to have native IoTeX integrated to Coinbase. But please stay tuned for more details around that as we're chatting with the Coinbase team constantly. Another really big milestone for us was joining Mobi. IoTeX has always been very involved in enterprise consortiums. We lead the blockchain working group within the Industry IoT Consortium, the IIC. We have participated within the Confidential Computing Consortium with corporations like ARM, and we have started a lot of different initiatives within the IEEE and other professional organizations. But Mobi is one that really applies a lot of the technology and innovations we've been developing and puts it into practice in real world settings, especially within the automotive and the mobility space. So, we're already talking with the Mobi team about several pilots using Pebble Tracker to track moving assets and non-moving assets for the automotive space. So 2022, we're going to see a lot more activity related to that. Along the same lines, we mentioned the Industry IoT Consortium. In October of 2021, we started the first blockchain-based testbed for valuable asset tracking using Pebble Tracker. So this is just another example of Pebble Tracker coming out earlier in the year. Throughout the year, we've really been working on the documentation, the tooling around Pebble Tracker to make it usable. And now it's starting to be adopted by different enterprises within these consortiums. The IAC was founded by Microsoft, Huawei, Dell, GE, et cetera. So really, again, rubbing shoulders with some of the largest organizations and bringing them this new brand of technology with IoTeX. And things really, really got interesting in November of 2021 when we had our MachineFi kickoff. MachineFi is our brand new vision for bringing Web3 to the Internet of Things, to start the new machine economy where everyday people can own and control their devices and their data, as well as the value their devices generate, right? So we call this MachineFi, financialization of machines, the resources they possess, and the services that they provide in a fully Web3 capacity. So in November of 2021, we unveiled our new MachineFi vision paper and roadmap, and had a lot of great sessions around that. So check out machinefi.com if you haven't caught up with our new MachineFi vision, and we'll walk through a little bit about what's on the MachineFi roadmap for next year. And in November of 2021, this is more of a forward-looking milestone, but Chainlink, we partnered with Chainlink, and a developer group named Protofire actually received a grant from Chainlink to bring Chainlink's oracles to the IoTeX mainnet. And this is going to be one of those similar to the cross-chain bridges and the mainnet version 1.2 with Bobble. This is going to be a piece of infrastructure that will unlock an entirely new category of dApps for IoTeX, and something that we're really excited about. I'm going to jump into that very shortly. And just very recently, our latest news is this month we announced a brand new IEEE standard called Identity of Things that was founded by IoTeX and has participation from Bosch, Lenovo, Huawei, Ericsson, and Lockheed Martin. And together with these global enterprises, IoTeX is starting to define a standard for decentralized identity for machines. And we call it the Identity of Things standard. So, this really just puts the cherry on top as far as the enterprise connections. We're really working with these really, really large corporations on how machine identity can interoperate across entities that may be competitors and unlock a lot of value generation and interoperability and authorization capabilities for the new machine economy. And this also slots in nicely into our MachineFi roadmap. In between all of these milestones were dozens and dozens of brand new partnerships with very top tier partners. But hopefully this gives you a good view of just the highlights of what we did in 2021. And like I mentioned, the fruits of our labor really led to this, right? This flourishing ecosystem of dApps, partners, infrastructure providers, other public chains, and tooling that are making IoTeX just a really fun place to interact, right? We're not just a platform anymore. We're not just a small ecosystem, but this is now kind of a hockey stick growth type of scenario we're in, where, as I mentioned, the number of users, transactions, and dApps are all soaring. And just taking a look at this brings a smile to my face because, we know all the projects that are listed on here. And I can tell you guys that they're just as excited about being on IoTeX as we are to have them on IoTeX. So it's definitely creating a lot of win-win scenarios across cross-chain dApps, MachineFi dApps, DeFi, NFTs, launch pads, different types of infrastructure, lots of different centralized exchanges, GameFi coming to IoTeX, governance tools, including Snapshot, enterprise relationships, various partners, various public chains, a lot of different tools, and a lot of a brand new wallet. And I know everyone wants to double click in to see all these projects and what they're about. And a special announcement we have today is we just launched our brand new ecosystem website. So everyone can go check out the brand new ecosystem.iotex.io website, where we have much more easy to navigate projects. And we have some featured projects listed here. We're going to add more as time goes on, but a really nice UI so everyone can explore all the different categories of dApps. And as you can see, over 130 projects and partners now on IoTeX. So it's a really fun thing to just explore. You get lost in it, just see the whole variety of things that are being built on IoTeX. and it really positions us to have an amazing 2022. Um, so I mentioned before about all this infrastructure we're building and the apps that they're enabling, right? So what does this all mean? We talked about the cross-chain bridges. We talked about the mainnet version 1.2. And Union Square Ventures, which is a very large traditional VC fund, put out a blog post in the past that became very popular. They called it the application infrastructure cycle, right? So for the past 3 years, 4 years maybe, IoTeX has been building our blockchain and our platform completely from scratch. And that infrastructure is really what led to this boom in dApps that we saw today, right? Not just the foundational blockchain, but also those tools that I mentioned. Cross-chain bridges with IoTube contributed a lot of new liquidity and a lot of new eyeballs to IoTeX. IoPay as a really user-friendly, mobile-friendly way to access dApps and to manage your cryptocurrency and your tokens. That was a huge piece of infrastructure that enabled a lot of apps to be successful. And finally, things like Mimo, which allowed different tokens and different apps to build liquidity and build their initial token base, and so much more, right? All the things that we've done to date have led to this first spike in dApps that we see today. But what's coming next? Why is adding more infrastructure important as we look forward to 2022? Well, it's because this application infrastructure cycle is real, right? The infrastructure you build today will dictate the types of applications that your infrastructure can power tomorrow. And eventually, as more applications come on board, they're going to demand new infrastructure to bring their dApps to the next level and also expand the platform's viability to cover different types of dApps, right? So snapshot to 2021 today, the IoTeX blockchain, with all of these amazing pieces of infrastructure that we've added over the past 4 years, have all led to this 130 plus dApps and partners we see today. But what's next is even more exciting. We mentioned the Chainlink integration a lot. Chainlink is really going to unlock a lot of brand new dApps that require this infrastructure. We know because we ask them and they tell us that Chainlink and stablecoins and different other pieces of layer 2 tooling are very, very important for them to launch. So this piece of infrastructure will enable a lot of brand new dApps, and you're going to start to see the Chainlink integration, new launch pads, new stablecoins and money markets, and new forms of DAOs and governance launching on IoTeX even as early as Q1 of next year. It's going to be on a rolling basis, and it's going to be enabling this brand new category of dApps. But looking even further, right? Another important piece of infrastructure that's going to unlock an entirely new category of apps on IoTeX is MachineFi. MachineFi, there's an entirely unique roadmap for MachineFi that's going to add complementary infrastructure to what is already being built in the form of IoTeX blockchain and in the form of layer 2 tools. Things like TrueStream, which is our real world data oracle that we've been working on behind the scenes extremely hard. We're excited to unveil that very soon. IEEE, the DID standard that we mentioned, the Identity of Things standard, is going to be an important piece of infrastructure to empower MachineFi dApps, and a lot of things to do with hardware across Raspberry Pi, Arduino SDKs, and things that make it easier for people to utilize machines and machine data on the IoTeX network. So this is just some context as far as some of the decisions we made and why it's important to think about, where did these dApps come from? Well, they didn't pop out of nowhere. They're the product of a lot of infrastructure we built over the past 4 years, and this cycle will only continue. Can't say how excited we are to see the fruits of our new infrastructure additions in 2022. Oh. Another thing, I touched upon this, just wanted to share for anyone that's new watching, just give you a little poo-poo platter, sampler platter of the IoTeX network. IoPay is our wallet that you see some screenshots here. It allows people to manage their tokens and their NFTs. It allows people to stake in the IoTeX network and view their rewards. It allows you to access different dApps directly from the Discover tab and also see the latest news and updates from IoTeX. And this is a view of what the dApp interface looks like on IoTeX with accessing Mimo through IoPay. So it's something that's very clean and user-friendly. We finally saw IOPay bring IoTeX to mobile users in 2021. Um, this is our cross-chain bridge called IoTube, really bridging IoTeX to the top chains, starting with Ethereum. And now you can even go onto the Explorer on iotube.org and see, different cross-chain transactions happening at every single hour of the day. So, over $75 million in cross-chain volume on IoTube alone, with a sleek interface, one of the smoothest bridges in the industry. So, give it a try yourself. Bring over some assets from your other networks and experience the fast and smooth experience you're going to have on IoTeX. Another important piece of infrastructure was really these user-friendly tools for developers and users, right? We mentioned the Bobble API allowed people to use MetaMask on IoTeX for the first time. And we've also revamped our Explorer here. This is IoTeX Scan V2. Revamped the Explorer just to be much more clean and add more capabilities for both developers and for users. And all of this led to this boom of dApps on IoTeX. Most of them are related to DeFi, GameFi, and NFTs. And we saw a lot of new liquidity form around. And this is a sign of kind of the DeFi growth starting in September. We saw a maximum liquidity TVL on Mimo of about $44 million in November. And the record day for Mimo this year was about $13 million in volume on a decentralized exchange. It's pretty massive. So congrats to Mimo on a big year. We're excited to say there's more DEXs and money markets coming soon to IoTeX that are just going to get out of the pipeline very, very soon. So we're excited to see Mimo have some competition and see the DeFi landscape expand further on IoTeX. Some other dApps that we saw had a breakout year, just wanted to share across DeFi and across GameFi. We saw ZoomSwap command total value locked of over $20 million at one point, which is a yield farm and a DeFi suite. So really big congrats to ZoomSwap and all the other great DeFi yield farms and DeFi products that have launched on IoTeX this year. We hope to see even more users and TVL as we bring more assets to IoTeX. And also Star Crazy. Star Crazy was one of the first play-to-earn games on IoTeX. Really had a big year with over 3,000, I think, active users to date, and seeing a lot of new traction, new features being rolled out. And all of this is really proving that. Finally, we also had a lot of NFTs happening today or this year. So we had Soda launch a marketplace. We have Treasureland launching an NFT marketplace. We've also been issuing a lot of new NFTs to the community. So it's been really great to see. And all of this to prove that, IoTeX is able to support all of these dApps in a very reliable way, right? Across DeFi, across GameFi, across NFTs. The IoTeX chain was resilient, and not just resilient, but really accommodating to all of these brand new projects that are launching. And in addition to what I shared today, there's so many dApps that came to IoTeX, but that's not the full scope of our ecosystem, right? The really amazing thing to note for this year, from my perspective, is there is no single definition of what the IoTeX community means anymore, right? Our community consists of developers, both beginner developers and enterprise level developers, to anonymous developers, to builders and development teams, to global users, and finally also now includes a lot of enterprises that we've been rubbing shoulders with even since the start of IoTeX, but really we took things to the next level this year. What you see on this page is just a snapshot of some of the major enterprises that we've had relationships with or done something with in some capacity this year. And, just like the rest of this presentation, there's really too much to include. And there's a lot of things that are missing from this slide. But just to highlight some of the amazing things we've done, we've hosted a lot of great panels. Just last week, we had a panel with Anoop from AWS, Robert from ARM, Robert Parker, who used to be the founding engineer of Amazon Alexa, Mitchell from CES, Andreas from Moby, and the list goes on, right? So we're having a lot of deep discussions about the future of MachineFi with some of the most traditional enterprises globally. So it's really amazing to see. We started our IEEE standard for Identity of Things with Lenovo, with Bosch, with Huawei, with Ericsson. And amazingly, we've also had follow-up conversations outside the scope of the IEEE standard. So it's really good to see our work in these enterprise consortiums kind of breaking down some barriers for us to be able to work with these enterprises on other initiatives as well. Nordic Semiconductor, our partner for Pebble, really great time working with them this year to bring Pebble Tracker to life. We have the Industry IoT Consortium. We got a formal shout out from Vodafone on Twitter, and have been having some subsequent conversations with them there. We had a use case with the U.S. Navy. Consensus Networks received a $1.5 million grant from the U.S. Navy to build HealthNet, which is a medical supply chain solution on IoTeX using Pebble Tracker, and we've received a lot of coverage for that back last month. So check out the coverage on Cointelegraph. It's a really amazing use case to bring the trust and security of blockchain to a military grade use case, literally. And finally, we continued our relationships with big consortiums like Mobi. We're on the executive committee of the China Mobile IoT Alliance, and finally, the Confidential Computing Consortium. So all in all, just one of those years that makes you smile, 2021 year in review. And we could talk about what happened this year for days, but I think the thing that I'm most proud about is just to see all these metrics around users, around transactions, around wallets. They tell a story, but the passion that I experience engaging with the community day to day, that's something that doesn't show up as a quantitative number, right? But I've had so many people reach out to me and the rest of the team, just really diving deep into the MachineFi vision and what we have planned. And these are lifetime value kind of community members. So we hope to bring more awareness of IoTeX, but also deepen the relationship with our community.